What happens when the line between duty and friendship blurs? In a town where every life matters, one simple mistake turns into a race against time. When a police officer punches a firefighter in a heated moment, neither of them knows that the chief's house is burning to the ground. With lives hanging in the balance, two men, once sworn enemies, must overcome their differences to save the one man who's been there for them both. But as the flames rise, so do the stakes. Can they save the chief before it's too late, or will guilt and regret consume them along with the fire? The camera pans over a peaceful suburban street, cars passing, children playing, and a gentle breeze rustling the trees. But beneath this quiet surface, tension brews. It's just another typical afternoon, or so it seems. But not everything is as calm as it appears. In the midst of this serenity, an unlikely clash is about to set the stage for a catastrophic series of events. Officer James told, "You're not in charge here, Ben. I'm the one who calls the shots today, not you." Firefighter Ben told, "You think you can just waltz in here and start making decisions? This isn't your area, James. You're out of line." Two men, two words, and right now none of that matters. The only thing that matters is their argument, a disagreement born from stubbornness, pride, and a rush to be right. Officer James told, "Look, I know how to handle this. You don't need to lecture me." Firefighter Ben told, "Don't lecture you. I've saved the lives, James. While you've been talking about the protocol, I've been on the front lines. You're playing with fire here, and you don't even realize it." Their voices drown out everything else, everything that matters, but fate has a different plan. Officer James told, "You're not going to tell me how to do my job, Ben. I'm in charge today." Firefighter Ben told, "You want to be in charge? Fine, but I'll be the one saving people's lives when the time comes." While Officer James and Firefighter Ben clash on the street, miles away, a far greater crisis is unfolding. A fire has ignited at the chief's house, and no one knows it yet. Chief Whitaker told, "Hello?" The voice on the other end is frantic, radio voice, shouting, "Chief, your house is on fire. We need backup now." The camera cuts back to Officer James and Firefighter Ben, still in the middle of their argument. They have no idea what's at stake. One punch, one argument, and a moment of anger that could cost everything. The camera focuses on Officer James's clenched fists as he steps forward, his face a mask of anger. His breaths are quick, shallow, as the heat of the moment clouds his judgment. Officer James told, "Do you know who you're talking to, Ben? You think you're some kind of hero because you put out fires? Well, I'm trying to do my job here, and you're standing in the way." Firefighter Ben told, "You're pushing it, James. This isn't about you or me. This is about people's lives. You don't understand what's at stake." Their words slice through the air like daggers, each one sharper than the last. A battle of pride and miscommunication, and all the while, somewhere close by, a ticking clock is counting down to something far worse than either could ever imagine. Radio voice, urgently, "Chief, the fire is spreading fast. We need you here, now." Chief Whitaker, a man who has led hundreds of rescue missions, now finds himself on the other side of the call. His house is burning, his family is at risk, and the very people who should be helping him are too busy fighting their own battle. Officer James told, "I don't need a lesson in fire safety, Ben. I've been on the job long enough to know how to handle this situation." Firefighter Ben told, "Handling this situation means working together, not throwing punches. You want to play hero? Fine, but this is not the time. Do you understand that? There's a fire somewhere, maybe even right under our noses, and it's getting worse by the minute." In their petty struggle, James and Ben fail to see the big picture. They're too wrapped up in their pride, too consumed by their egos, to realize that they've just crossed a line. A line that could cost them everything. Radio voice shouting, "All units, immediate response required." Fire at the chief's residence, all available resources, now, Officer James told. Wait, what did you just hear? The chief's house, Firefighter Ben told. Yes, the chief's house is on fire, James. This is bigger than us. It's bigger than our argument. We need to move, now. As the two men faced the reality of the situation, the tension that has kept them apart now pales in comparison to the devastation unfolding just a few blocks away. But even in this moment of crisis, James hesitates. His pride, his ego, it's holding him back. Officer James, muttering to himself, I didn't know. The chief's house? James stands there, conflicted, realizing the gravity of the situation too late. Time is running out. Every second wasted means the fire spreads further, endangering not just the chief's home, but everyone inside. Firefighter Ben shouting as he hops into the truck. Move it, James, let's go. James snaps out of his trance. He runs toward the car, his mind racing, his heart pounding in his chest. He knows this is no longer about proving a point, this is about saving lives. The sound of sirens wails in the background, piercing through the heavy air. Officer James and Firefighter Ben, now seated in their respective vehicles, race toward the fire. The flashing lights reflect off their faces, a mixture of confusion and urgency clouding their expressions. As the two men speed through the neighborhood, the hum of their engines competes with the frantic calls of the radio. Ben grips the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white. He knows what's at stake now. This is no longer about a simple disagreement. This is life or death. Firefighter Ben told, this is Engine 12 en route to Chief Whitaker's residence. Heavy smoke reported in the area. We need backup immediately. Radio voice, crackling, urgent. Copy that, Engine 12. All units are on high alert. Chief's house is fully engulfed. Evacuations in progress. Be advised, residents are unaccounted for. Proceed with caution. Moments like these aren't just about putting out flames. It's not just about rushing to the scene, putting on a uniform, and hoping the fire doesn't spread. No, this is personal. The chief's house is a symbol. A man who has led so many through crises. A man who has been there when others needed help. And now he's the one who needs help. Officer James, muttering to himself, I should have known. Why didn't I see it? It was right there, the chief's house. I could have done something. The distance between James's actions and the lives they affect feels like a chasm now. Every second he wasted arguing with Ben, every second of hesitation, now plays out in his mind like a loop. But it's too late for regret. There is no time to turn back now. The chief's house is almost unrecognizable. The once pristine, cozy home is now engulfed in thick black smoke, the flames leaking at the windows, threatening to consume it entirely. Firefighters and police officers scramble around the yard, trying to evacuate everyone in the vicinity. The fire is intense, but the urgency only grows with each passing moment. Firefighter Ben shouting to the crew, "Get the hoses out! We need to make a safe entry. Check the back. Find out where the chief is." Officer James told, "I'm with you, Ben. Just tell me what to do." Ben doesn't respond immediately. His eyes scan the perimeter, looking for any signs of the chief's family, checking for windows or doors that could give them an entry point. He's calm, but there's a noticeable tension in his movements. The house is a furnace, the flames roar with an almost primal hunger, as though they can sense their prey just out of reach. The chief's family is already outside, but there's no sign of the man himself. He's inside, trapped, alone. Firefighter Ben told, "Where is he? We need to find the chief now." The radio crackles again, sending a surge of anxiety through the air. Radio voice, urgent. "Be advised, Chief Whitaker has not been located. Units are searching. Continue your efforts. Evacuation still in progress." The situation has gone from dire to desperate. Ben knows that the fire isn't the only enemy here. Time is the true villain. The fire may burn, but the clock is ticking faster, and with each passing minute, their chances of saving the chief diminish. Officer James shouting into the smoke, Chief Whitaker, where are you?" In the midst of the chaos, James is faced with a challenge unlike any he's ever faced before. The chief is somewhere inside, and all he can do is follow the trail of smoke, his instincts pulling him forward even as the fire rages around him. Officer James rushing toward him. "Chief, you're here. We've got to get you out of here now." Chief Whitaker, weakly. I'm not alone. My family, my kids." Just as the flames begin to close in, just as the weight of their mission bears down on them, a flicker of hope ignites in the darkness. The chief is alive. But the danger is far from over. His family is still inside, and time is running out. The scene intensifies. The fire roars behind them, consuming the chief's house with a ferocity that matches the chaos unfolding on the ground. The camera zooms in on Ben's face, drenched in sweat, his brow furrowed with determination. He's just made the biggest decision of his career. The chief is out, but the family is still trapped. Firefighter Ben told, "Get that hose down now. We need backup at the back. The fire's spreading to the garage. Move!" Officer James nervously stepping forward. "Ben, wait, we can't just..." Firefighter Ben told. "Enough, James, we don't have time to argue. If you're not gonna help, then get out of my way." In that moment, the air between them crackles with a tension too thick to cut through. It's no longer just about a disagreement. It's about trust. It's about whose life matters more in that second. Ben is pushing forward, fighting with everything he has to save lives, and James is struggling to catch up with the weight of his own failure. Officer James told, "Don't you dare tell me to step aside. Ben, you're not the only one here trying to save lives. I'm not a rookie, I've got experience. You..." Firefighter Ben told, "You think I don't know that? You think I don't see you standing there, holding your badge like it's supposed to protect you? You have no idea what it's like to be in my boots, James. No idea." The words hit like a punch to the gut, but Ben isn't done. He spent the entire day trying to fight a fire, literally and metaphorically, with a man who doesn't seem to get the urgency, the lives on the line, the homes burning to the ground. And yet, James, he can't even understand the weight of the situation. Officer James told, "You think I'm useless? Huh? You think you've got it all figured out? Then why don't you show me how it's done?" Firefighter Ben told, "You think that's gonna help anyone? You're a damn liability, James." In that moment, the entire situation spins out of control. The punch lands like a bell toll, ringing loud and clear. The anger between them was always there, simmering beneath the surface. But now, it's exploded in the most unthinkable way. The fire's not the only thing threatening to consume them. In their minds, everything has boiled over. Officer James told, You hit me?" Firefighter Ben told, "You're damn right I did, and I'll do it again if it means you'll wake up and get it together. There are lives at risk, James." The punch isn't just a physical act, it's a breaking point. It's the collision of two worlds, two people who thought they understood what it meant to serve and protect. But the reality of the situation has ripped away the masks they've been wearing. Beneath the anger, beneath the frustration, lies something raw. Fear of failure, fear of losing someone, fear of being too late. Firefighter Ben told, "Do you see now, James? Do you get it? This isn't about us, it's about them. The people we swore to protect, the chief, his family, they're still inside. And you're wasting time throwing punches instead of saving lives." Ben's words hit James like another punch, and for the first time in a long time, James feels something deeper than anger, guilt. He knows that Ben's right. He knows that the fire, the danger, the threat to life, it's all real, but so is the tension between them. And in this moment, every second they've wasted arguing, every second of that fight might just cost them everything. Radio voice, urgent. Emergency crews, we have unconfirmed reports that the chief's family is still inside the house. We need all available units to go in and search the second floor. Immediate action required. The call rings in their ears like a final warning. The chief's family is still trapped. Time is up. There's no more room for arguments, no more time for punches. The real battle is still ahead. The fire is relentless. It claws its way up the walls of the chief's house, leaking at the edges of the roof. The smoke thickens, darkening the sky, making it nearly impossible to see. But amid the chaos, the real fire burns within the man who just clashed in the midst of it all. Ben is still gripping the hose, his fingers white from the pressure, trying to push past his own frustration. His heart beats like a drum, but his mind is somewhere else now, far away from the fight, far away from the violence that just erupted. His thoughts are racing, trying to piece together what just happened. James, on the other hand, stands motionless, his hand still hovering over his jaw where Ben's punch landed. The sting of it lingers, but it's not the pain of the punch that haunts him. It's the crushing weight of guilt that has settled like a stone in his chest. Officer James told, "What have I done?" James has been a cop for years. He's faced countless dangerous situations, stared down criminals, fought to protect his community, but never before has he felt this kind of guilt. The kind that grips you deep in your bones and doesn't let go. The kind that makes you wonder if you've just ruined everything in a split second. Officer James, his voice cracking apologetically. "Ben, I didn't think, I wasn't thinking." The words hang in the air, heavy with the weight of his realization. He never wanted this. He never wanted to be the obstacle in Ben's way. But his own pride, his own ego, blinded him. Now, standing there, feeling the weight of his own mistakes, he is forced to confront the undeniable truth. The situation is worse than he ever imagined. He's been part of the problem, not a part of the solution. Firefighter Ben told James, I didn't want it to come to that, but you gotta understand, we're running out of time. This fire, it's not gonna wait for us to figure things out. People are inside, the chief's family. We have to act now." Officer James told, "I know, Ben, I know, but I was too proud to see it. I wasn't focused on the fire. I was focused on my pride. I didn't think about what was at stake. I wasn't seeing what was right in front of me." The realization hits Ben too. For all his anger, for all his shouting, Ben hadn't really seen James either. Not until this moment. He had been so wrapped up in the urgency of the fire, in his own need to make up for the chief's absence, that he didn't stop to consider what James might have been going through. He didn't realize the pressure James was under, the inner turmoil that had been eating away at him. Firefighter Ben told, "We don't have time for this. We have to go back inside. Together." Ben's words are simple, but they carry more weight than any argument they've had before. He's not asking James to forgive himself or to pretend like the past few minutes didn't happen. No, he's telling him that right now they both have one job, saving lives, and for that to happen, they have to work together. There's no more room for pride, no more time for grudges, only action. Officer James told Wright, "Let's go get them, together." In that moment, something shifts. The tension, the anger, the frustration, they start to melt away. What's left is a shared understanding, a mutual recognition of their roles in this mission, in this disaster. The fire that has torn through the chief's house is still burning, but for the first time today, there's a spark of hope. And so, as the clock ticks away, as the fire continues to rage, these two men, once divided by anger and pride, stand united in their shared purpose. They don't know if they'll make it in time. They don't know if the chief's family is still alive. But they do know this: no matter what happens, they'll face it together. The air feels thick, suffocating, as the heat from the flames intensifies. Ben and James don't have the luxury of time anymore. Every second counts, and they know it. The house, once a home, is now a raging inferno. The chief's family, his wife, kids, their lives, are trapped inside. There's no more room for error, no more time for hesitation. Firefighter Ben told, "We don't have time to waste, we need to get in there now." Ben's voice breaks through the panic, the urgency of his words cutting through the cacophony. His body moves almost on autopilot toward the entrance of the chief's house. James follows, the guilt still hanging heavily on him like a weight around his neck, but now it's pushed aside by the singular purpose of the moment. The punch, the anger, the confusion, they're gone. All that matters now is saving lives. Firefighter Ben told, "Stay close, James. We're not out of the woods yet." Officer James told, "Where are they? We need to find them now." They moved together, weaving through the smoke and fire. The light from the flames flickers, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Each step feels like an eternity. The danger is all around them. Every creak and crack of the house makes their hearts race faster. They know they're not just fighting a fire anymore, they're fighting against the clock, against the very real possibility that they won't make it out in time. Firefighter Ben told Chief, "Mrs. Armstrong, anyone?" Ben's voice echoes through the house, but all he hears in return is the roar of the fire, the suffocating heat, and the distant crackling of collapsing beams. His heart races faster. He knows they're running out of time. The chief's house is no longer just a structure, it's a death trap, and with every passing second, the chances of finding them alive grow slimmer. Officer James told, "We have to keep moving, Ben. We're running out of time. Time, the one thing they both know they can't afford to lose." The smoke is thickening, the flames are consuming the house faster than they can move. They've covered the first two rooms with no sign of anyone. The panic in their chests begins to grow. They push forward, feeling like they're racing against the very hands of the clock. Firefighter Ben told, "Did you hear that?" Officer James told, "We're coming. Hold on, we're coming." They reach the door at the end of the hallway, and the smoke is so thick now that it's almost impossible to breathe. The fire is right behind them, but they can't stop. They can't turn back. They're so close to saving them. Ben throws open the door. What they find is a nightmare. A family trapped behind the flames, coughing and struggling for air, their faces smudged with soot, their bodies covered in ash. The mother and father are unconscious, but the children, two young girls, barely old enough to understand the danger they're in, are still conscious, looking up at them with wide, terrified eyes. Firefighter Ben told, "It's okay, we've got you, you're going to be fine." The girls don't speak, but they cling to Ben as if he's their lifeline. James, now fully in action mode, rushes to the parents, checking for signs of life. His hands are shaking, but he doesn't hesitate. He checks their pulses, assesses their breathing, and with a quick glance, he knows they're alive. Barely. Officer James told Ben, "We need to move them now." The weight of their mission has never been clearer. Ben and James aren't just fighting the fire anymore. They're fighting for lives. They're fighting for the chief's family, and they know they have to move fast. The clock is ticking down, and every second they waste could be the difference between life and death. Firefighter Ben told James, "I need you to carry them. We have to get out, now." With a final push, they manage to drag the family out of the fire. Each step feels like a lifetime, each breath a battle against the smoke. The flames are almost on top of them now, but they don't stop. They keep moving, keep fighting, until they're finally outside, gasping for fresh air. They've made it, barely. The heat from the fire is unbearable as Ben and James stumble away from the burning house, their lungs heavy with smoke, their bodies exhausted from the battle to save the chief's family. They've made it out, but there's one question still hanging in the air, one person still left behind. Officer James told, "We got them, but what about the chief? Where is he?" Ben's eyes narrow, his body frozen for a split second as the realization hits him. The chief hasn't been found, not in the house, not yet, They hadn't seen him in the rooms they searched. He could still be inside, trapped, unconscious, or worse, caught in the flames. Firefighter Ben told, "We need to go back." The words hang in the air, heavy with weight. They've already risked everything to save the family, pushing themselves to the limit. But leaving the chief behind isn't an option, not after everything, not after the punch, not after the guilt. Firefighter Ben told, "Stay here, I'll go back in." Officer James told, "No, we go together, we can't waste time arguing." Ben's mind races. He's torn between the overwhelming urge to rush back in and the knowledge that every second they waste puts their lives at greater risk. But James is right, they can't do this alone. Officer James told, "We can't leave him in there, we won't." With nothing but determination and desperation driving them, Ben and James move forward, pushing through the thick smoke, the rising heat, the unbearable pressure of time. But just as they approach the house, something unexpected happens. Firefighter Ben told Chief, "No answer, only the deafening crackling of flames." Officer James told, "Is that him?" The figure steps closer. The glow from the fire casts an orange light on the figure's face, and then Ben and James freeze. The person stumbling forward isn't the chief. It's one of the chief's deputies. His face is covered in soot, his clothes singed, his eyes bloodshot from smoke. His movements are sluggish, as if every step he takes drains the last of his energy. His hands tremble as he holds onto the doorframe, struggling to stay upright. Deputy told, "Chief, he's still in there. He's trapped, under debris." Ben and James exchange a glance. Their worst fears have come true. The chief is still inside the house, caught under the weight of the collapsing beams. The deputy's words send a wave of panic through both men, but there's no time to waste. The chief is alive, but barely. Firefighter Ben told, "You need to get out of here. We're going back in for the chief. Where is he?" Deputy told, "He's in the study, the back room, near the window." The words hit Ben like a slap in the face. The study, the back room. It's all so familiar, the room where the chief had always kept his private files, his most personal items. And now it's become a grave. Firefighter Ben told, "Stay with the deputy, I'm going in." Before James can protest, Ben bolts toward the house, his heart pounding in his chest. The fire is fiercer than ever, leaking at the edges of the walls as if trying to consume everything in its path. But Ben doesn't care. The chief is still in there. He has to save him. As Ben runs, the world becomes a blur. The heat from the fire, the smoke stinging his eyes, the sound of the flames roaring louder than ever. He can barely see, but his instincts are sharp. He knows the layout of the house. He knows where the chief's study is. Just as he's about to enter the house, the unthinkable happens. A beam falls from above, crashing in front of the door. The house shakes violently, and Ben stumbles back, almost losing his footing. He's trapped. Firefighter Ben told, "No, no exclamation mark. He's so close, so close. But the fire has sealed him out. The study, the chief." Time is running out. The clock is ticking down, and Ben knows it. But there's no turning back now. He won't stop until he saves the chief. What would you do if you were in their shoes? Could you overcome the past to save a friend? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you're hooked and want to know what happens next, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an intense moment like this.